My name is Wilbur of Ochiltree. I am in the Creative Writing for the Entertainment Industry's Bachelor's Degree program. I will be interviewing Professor Nicole Quinto, who has a Master's of Fine Arts. She is an Associate Course Director in the English Department at Full Sail University. She is the Assistant Editor of Sundress Publications and the Nonfiction Editor of Best of the Net Anthology. The date is the 24th of July, and I and Allie are located in Greenville, South Carolina. Professor Quinto is currently in Winter Park, Florida at Full Sail University. Professor Quinto, thank you for graciously consenting to this interview.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to help.
What do you see as the role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in our profession?
Visual art is becoming more and more important to creative writing. There's always the flip side where authors are in charge of writing plots for television or song lyrics, so we already have a hand in multimedia. The reverse is trending now, though, where you see multimedia, specifically illustration or other visual elements, entering into traditionally published poetry or prose. It's an exciting time to be a writer, because you are allowed to be much more. Not that there's anything wrong with being just a writer, but you get the idea. I love the flexibility I have to bring to my visual art.
New communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or a negative influence on your field?
I think this is only positive. I provided links to work, for example, that I wouldn't have been able to share with you over the distance we're working together. In addition, media technologies allow for text and images to be presented in a multimodal fashion without the worry of cost. For example, printing an essay or poem that includes color, like John Degatta's The Lifespan of a Fact, is incredibly expensive. His publisher has the money, so you see it in print, but other publishers choose to publish work like this digitally. That's fine with me. I want art to reach as many people as possible.
What popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry?
I'll respond to this in a strictly textual sense first. As an editor, much of the imagery and the writing I read is similar. We get a lot of stories that use birds as metaphors for things that are too easy. Stories end with metaphorical sleep entirely too much. As far as the new visual art I'm seeing in conjunction with traditional text, the interesting thing is that for whatever reason, I receive a lot of self-portraits within the writing, or some sort of visual representation of the narrator. I'm guilty of this as well, as I've used this method in some of my own visual poetry. Many of these images I receive as submissions are lovely, but in some ways I wonder if it takes away from the imaginative nature of the writing. If you can visually see your protagonist, can you still relate to them as much as you did when your vision of the protagonist was paramount?
Interesting point. Who is one of your favorite visual artists, and what is your favorite style of visual art?
I've been interviewed for this project before, and I feel like my response is always changing. Right now, my favorite visual art incorporates text in some way. I love it when visual art is also somehow narrative, and that doesn't take away from my interpretive experience of the visuals themselves. My favorite multimodal text right now is Anne Carlson's Knots, which is a lovely collection of visual images, poetry, and prose. Books can be art too, and I'm glad some are treated as such.
How has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process?
I think my biggest influences are still creators of imagery rather than the creators of images. Writers like John Degatta and Wilbur create imagery on a page that makes me feel like I'm caught in a coursing river until I finish the essay or poem I'm reading. Degatta's About a Mountain is a perfect example of language-driven research and character development. Wilbur's essay, The Pain Scale, includes an actual pain scale as the section breaks, and those breaks are so effective. Attention to language is still first and foremost in my mind when I create, and the visual elements are there to support the strong writing. I think all elements of a multimodal piece should be able to stand on their own as great, so when they come together, they are greater than they were alone. This is how I build upon famous works in my own creative process.
Thank you for participating in this interview project and for putting up with me. You're an awesome teacher and an inspiration.
I'm not putting up with anything. You are one of my best students and are still an inspiration to me.
Thank you, Professor Quinto. To summarize, visual art is becoming more and more important to the field of creative writing for the entertainment business. We are constantly seeing new innovative techniques in our chosen field. This concludes our interview with Professor Quinto. Thank you for your attention.